PhatMojo or Jakks Pacific. Today we will be looking at the comparison between the Jakks Pacific and PhatMojo Bendy figures and which line you should be picking up. So let's get started. First, I think we will take a look here at the PhatMojo Bendy. This is a pretty cool one here. So the thing with the Jakks Pacific, or sorry, the PhatMojo figures is most of the early line they were black and white. So they were these kind of like simple looking figures, and they looked pretty good for the most part for their time. These came out back in 2018 when Bendy was still roughly new. And honestly, my Bendy here, oh, Bendy just fell over. He's still in pretty good condition. He looks pretty solid. I'd say the paint on him has held up well. Some others haven't, I've seen online. But now let's get into the main thing, which is articulation here. So, and detail. So the details are pretty simple. You got just a basic paint print of his face, the bow tie. It's mostly just base white with black. I don't think there's actually real much paint here except the face. I feel like this is just white molded plastic. Maybe some black paint here. It's mostly just based on brief or small amounts of paint and mostly just mold color. So articulation for this Bendy, you're only going to get like movement up like this. I'm doing this with one hand, so I apologize. Same with the other arm. It's kind of on like a swivel. I don't know. The legs are just going to be able to move back, forwards about like that much, and not so much back. And other than that, I'd say that's about all you'll get with this Bendy figure. So let's look at the Jakks Pacific version from this year. So here's the Jakks Pacific Bendy, the little imp. This figure, in my opinion, is way more superior. I love the more game accurate sepia tones and the brownish yellows and the yellows, the black pen lines and the wet ink color. I'd say for paint, these figures are way more superior. They have so much more detail, so much more life to them that make them look like they're pulled directly out of the video game. This one is more based on Dark Revival, obviously. And for articulation, so I'd say for paint, these figures definitely win. But I'll tell you right now, for articulation, it's going to be hard to do with one hand, but it's like a ball joint kind of thing in his hands. He's got a joint up in his arm, so you can bend his arms. You can put his legs out, I think. I don't know. It might just be my copy. Mine feel a little stiff, but you can also bend at the knees. It kind of breaks up there, but that's just a nitpick. It's still cool to have that articulation. His head can go 360. I'm not going to turn mine, but his head can go 360. Again, I'm just kind of limited here. I'm recording and using one hand, so but he can do that. If you have this figure, you'll know. But yeah, otherwise for Bendy, I think this is a really good figure. I like all these cool details. And compared here to the Jakks Pacific, compared to the PhatMojo one, I definitely say so far Jakks Pacific is winning this so far. So here is the Jakks Pacific Tom figure next to the PhatMojo Tom figure here. And for fun, I actually did throw in this first wave PhatMojo Boris the Wolf. So let's actually take a look here quickly at Tom. And I keep falling over. It's okay. This Tom figure, for the most part, is really good. It's a neat looking Tom figure, except here's my only issue with it. Its lack of articulation. They downgraded the articulation moving later in the wave. They only were giving them like certain points of articulation, like arms that go up like this and down, and legs that can only sit, and their heads can still move. They were basically downgrading the articulation, which I thought was really lazy and kind of dumb. So other than that, they still kind of kept it this like black and white with gray. I thought the gray was a cool addition. This is more based on the 2018 render or model of Tom, but I don't know. This figure, it's an okay figure. It's not terrible. I don't like his ears. That's like my one thing I hate. Other than that, though, if you look at the PhatMojo Boris from the first wave. Look at how much more superior. I'll admit, even for a figure of its age, I still think this figure is fantastic. It's got actually really good articulation. It looks solid. Like, he's got bends at the arms. And this is older than this one, mind you. So he's got bends at the arms. His head can, I believe, go 360. His legs go back and forth. His knees bend. His feet rotate. And overall, he looks like a solid Boris figure. He looks exactly like he does in the game. So that's an absolute plus. So I don't know exactly what PhatMojo was thinking with this guy and like the later figures, because they definitely downgraded them. And I think that's what really holds Jakks up high right now, is just how lazy PhatMojo is starting to get with their bendy wave. But then of course you bring in Tom, and look at Tom. Tom, I'll admit, was a weird addition to this first wave. I don't know if we needed him in this first wave, especially because as we know, we're probably not going to get Allison in wave 2, but we never know. We really don't. What we've seen are just leaks, but with what it looks like, they might be accurate based on the Walmart site. But Tom, back to Tom here. It's a really good figure. This is still an amazing figure. He's got that wet, glossy black ink look. He's in the black and yellow sepia colors. He's got all the detail. Like, I love the shadow effect in his legs here. His boots. So, like, he can move at his... I think he's got a ball on his boots again. His hands here rotate. His arms will bend. Again, this is so hard to do with one hand, so do pardon me. This arm is cool. This arm feels a little more clanted because it's like a robot arm, so the articulation's a little more strengthy, I'd say, here. So it kind of does kind of feel like a robot arm. Like, his wrists will rotate. His head, I think, will turn 360. I'm going to be able to get it here. Yep. I was able to do it there. And he's got this, like, weight. Like, look at this. He's got, like, upper articulation here. Like, look at that. That's crazy. Does kind of cut things off. Like, actually does really good here. It does make the back look weird a bit, but that's still really cool. And I think the fact that Jakks can add that, like, I now hope we get a regular Boris with the same articulation, because this is really cool. Like, all the detail on Tom is just, it's there and it looks great. And this figure overall, just, he looks fantastic. I definitely am very pleased with the upgrades Jakks has been making. So far, Jakks is still in the lead here. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the Audrey figure. I'll put it over on the right side here so you can see it. But yeah, it's unfortunate that I don't have this, but honestly, I'm not too worried about it, because this Audrey is way more superior anyways. Like, just, like, look at this. I do kind of wish she had her ability on her hands, but otherwise, like, this is a way better figure. Like, she's got that wet ink. She looks like she's soaked in it. Her eyes are really cool looking. Her lips, the hair, and all the detail. Honestly, Jakks definitely improved from over here. We're just going to pretend it's here. The PhatMojo Audrey figure from the original Dark Revival set. So yep, Jakks still killing it. So this here is where things are going to get super interesting. We have the Ink Demon. Like, look how tall this guy is. This guy is really, really tall. Jeez. Yeah, so why don't we take a look at the original Ink Demon. Okay, so here is the original Ink Demon. And for the most part, this is a really, 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 really cool figure. I do still really like this one. It's actually based on this model over here on the right. I think it's like the beta version of the Ink Demon. And this design I still love. It was so nostalgic for me for the early years of Bendy. It's like what I remember in high school. I love all this texture. He's so rough and he feels like so inky and gloopy. It's so really gross feeling. It's really neat though. I think like this kind of paint job would have served this figure even well. But like the face even looks really nice on this. Like, I saw some smiles on this figure were terrible looking. Mine's really good looking. The gloves, like, again, my paint job on my PhatMojo ones have been still pretty on point. Like, they're not scuffed, broken, or anything. I do like these droops coming. But again, like, even this first wave Ink Demon figure, he's got a bend in the elbow. His head can turn. I don't know if I can turn 360. It probably can. I'm not going to do it because his head is tight. His wrist, I think, can rotate. Yep. His wrist can rotate. His knees can bend. And he can put his arms up and sit. So, like, he can do... Okay, well, he's not gonna sit properly, but he can do pretty cool stuff. that, like, you know what? For PhatMojo's early years of Bendy, these were really good starts. And then we end up here. Now, this is the early design of the Ink Demon from Dark Revival. So I still love having this figure. This design looks really cool. It kind of gives me more vibes of the first Bendy model, like the final game, so I kind of pretend it's like that, but there's still things that make it look more like the Dark Revival Bendy still. I still love having this figure. It's an awesome figure, like, appearance-wise. It's yellow. I love the black and yellow Bendy merch way more. And it actually does have some kind of, like, line details, ink on his gloves. See the detail on his bow tie and his teeth. His teeth there. His horns, but again, like the Bendy figures, they just can only do this. Like I think like this guy's hands can rotate. Well, yeah, his hands can rotate, but okay. So what? You can't bend his arms. You can't bend his legs. You can only like kick them forward. Like, he's a little too close to the camera here, but like, it's such a bummer. Like, I'll admit, it's still cool to have him like next to this guy. Because, like, this is the final version, and then you have this guy. So it's just such a pain as to why they went this route with their Bendy line. Like, this is, like, it kind of was bothering me. That they were getting kind of lazy. Like, they were improving certain things, and then, like, just going, okay, let's be a little lazy then, because I'm sure making the black and yellow make up for it. That doesn't fully make up for it. Like, this looks solid as a figure, like, standing off in the distance. When you're actually articulating it, it's not. It's really not that great. It's still a good figure, but its articulation, like, these Bendy figures got so lazy. Like, I like all the bonage and melty looking. His spine on the back, it looks too smooth on the, like, this was lazy on the back here, just the spine was cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the PhatMojo figures definitely started to fall off a bit. And then we make it here with the final figure we're going to look at today, the Ink Demon. Like, Jakks, I'm telling you, is taking the win for this figure. This figure is, oh my fucking, it's too good. This figure is the shit, I'll be honest. It, like, look at the mouth. I mean, I wish the teeth were a little more, like, not just printed, but, like, it looks still really good, even for printing. Like, it's got all, like, the gum details, and his bow tie looks all burnt and, like, dirty, and, like, he's got his long claws and his hoof feet, and he's covered in just that, like, if you loved the black gloss on these figures, buy this figure because it's everywhere. It's all over this figure. It's got these nice, like, material, like, these aren't gonna break. His spine, like, it's awesome. So it's like, for appearance, this figure automatically wins. This figure is a steal. Articulation, he's got a upper, again, kind of like Tom. He can bend at the elbows. His wrists can rotate. I'm gonna, like, mutilize him here. He can kind of put his feet out. Okay, I can't really do it with one hand, but his knees can bend. His hooves actually articulate, and it's the same on this arm. And he's got, are you ready for this? A double jointed neck, like, articulate. So he's got a ball joint up here and a ball joint down the bottom there. So you can literally get this Ink Demon to do some of the great, like, look at this. Look how high up this guy can look. You can see the split. Like, this is, like, look at that head articulation. Like, this is import quality articulation. I'm gonna be honest. I own imports. This is import. Like, look at that. Double jointed. Like, Spider-Man figure. I know import Spider-Man figures that have articulation like that. That's crazy that Bendy figures are getting this kind of style articulation. That's just incredible. That's way too cool. So, yeah, there is another win for Jakks. So there you go, guys. I would say the Jakks Pacific Bendy figures definitely take the win. Despite their very pricey price in Canada, basically almost whopping you in Ontario almost $30, these figures are still perfect for Bendy fans. These things are just amazing. Their paint and articulation just over-conquers everything that PhatMojo did. PhatMojo may have done really well in their early years of Bendy, but let's be honest, with Wave 2 coming soon from Jakks, I think Jakks has set the bar for what we deserve as Bendy fans for our Bendy collection. And Jakks, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. So that was my comparison with the PhatMojo compared to Jakks Pacific Bendy figures. I hope you enjoyed this video. Had fun doing this one. And if you liked it, like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, for any, like, to reach out to me, anything, talk about cool figures like this, because I'm totally down for it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.